guys, Mike here from Panther Hollow Sporting Optics. We are with the Tract Toric 4.5 to 30, 34 millimeter tube, 56 millimeter objective. This is a new scope for me. I just recently got this scope in. We had it to the range the other day. It was started out raining, then it turned to snow, then it started freezing. The Toric powered right through it. Everything stayed smooth. Nothing got stiff. That's just a sign of quality in my eyes. The turrets themselves, well, for the money, they're exceptional. I think this scope sets in the price range. It actually probably competes against higher scopes, more money scopes. One that comes to mind is the Razor Gen 2, which I personally own a Razor Gen 2, 4.5 27 by 56, and that scope's been a great scope. I have nothing to say bad about the Razor 4.5 27. It's been an exceptional scope for me. Now, is it overpriced? Yeah, compared to what you get to some other scopes, yes, I think it is a little overpriced. This scope is not really any clearer. Actually, if you set the Razor up and this one up and you look through them, it's just going to be a matter of opinion. It's going to be the guy that's looking through the scope, and that's something that I find a lot. I mean, you say, hey, how do you like this scope, to some guy, and they look through it, oh, I like this about it, but it's not this. And then you look at another one, well, I really like this one. It's clear, but I don't like this. So it's a matter of opinion. For me, the Tract is a great scope. It's going to live on this gun for a season. It may live on this gun for a long time. I like it. I like the reticle. I like everything about it. I am an element dealer, and I'm going to show you a few elements here in a minute, but we're talking about the Tract right now. For the money, I think it's hard to beat this scope. I mean, if you guys haven't looked through one, you find a buddy that has one, I don't think you'd be disappointed at all. I'm going to pause the video for a second. Okay, we're back. I put, on some of my videos, I talk about the wall. And on the wall, I have scopes that have lived up to expectations, and this is the guns that they're going to live on. So that is a Competition 22. And as you can tell, I have an Element Titan. The Element Titan is $800. And for $800, you get a very feature-rich scope that is very clear, that competes above its price range. It returns to zero. The tracking is flawless. Everything is there. I'm going to do a video where I box test this particular scope and show you guys that the box testing is for real. It is a awesome scope for the money. The next one, you have the Nexus. This is a combination of a hunting and long range scope. It is a lighter weight, built on a 30 millimeter tube. This particular scope is built in Japan at Light Optical Works. This is an exceptional scope for the money. It represents that area of like long range hunting. Would be kind of a box that I would put it in. It's lighter. It's clear. The tracking is great. The zero stops work awesome. That is on a 223 Coyote gun, and I plan to have it live there. If we go on down the wall, the next thing you'll see is the Arken. Now that particular Arken right there has literally been through it all. It's been box tested on 300 PRC. It has been wet. It has been below 30, not quite frozen, but close to. That is a 6.5 Creedmoor on a 1960s Remington action. That action is probably one of the sweetest actions I have. That scope will live on that gun. I have no plans on changing it. I like the setup. It has proven itself accurate. It has actually won a couple matches and is taking money from other people, right? Just because of the setup, they underestimate it. So that is a moneymaker right there, if you know what you're doing behind a gun. A lot of people underestimate Arkens. I would never do that. That's a $600 scope on a pretty expensive action and barrel, but you know, it is what it is. The shooter makes the scope, and in most cases, the scope don't make the shooter. It really depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about long-range scopes, you can have a good shooter behind it. Any long-range scope's going to look good. Next, we have another Titan, and this is a mill version. And as you can tell, that is a long-range competition setup on an NBA chassis, 6GT. Now, if I did not believe in the Element Titan, there would not be one setting on my competition gun. I mean, that's how much I believe in that $800 scope. Not that the Nexus couldn't do the same job. I have a video on the Nexus where it was actually has snow packed all over it. The Nexus came through that, no problem. But I want to thoroughly test the Titan and see that it will survive the rigors of a full season. I have no doubt that it will. But there again, we want to find that out. That Titan, those Titans, any of the Elements really, are feature rich for the money. So I'm going to pause it and move to another section. This is a 300 PRC. This particular gun is the one I use to box test my scopes with. This particular scope right here is the Arken. This one has not been box tested. Now the other scopes you've seen over there have been box tested on this particular gun. I like to box test them just to check and make sure that all the quality control checks are there. You know, you can take somebody's word for it or not, but I like to verify that, especially when I say Panther Hollow recommends this scope. So that's how I box test my scopes, is with the 300 PRC. Back here with the Tract again. To finish up what we're talking about, sorry for the abrupt cutoff on the 300 PRC. I ran out of memory. It's one of those things I deal with on my phone. Anyways, long story short, big thumbs up for the Tract Toric. I look forward to putting this through its rigors this year. It's going to be a fun scope to mess with. I am going to be building a separate build for testing scopes. I'm going to keep this particular scope combination on this gun for this whole season, along with the other long-range builds you've seen there with the Titan. Another scope we're going to be looking at real hard and heavy is this guy right here. This is the Chronos 4.5 29 by 56. This is the BTR. I had this mounted the other day when I was at the range on another gun, and it performed really well. I was actually shooting at a piece of paracord at 600 yards with this scope and the Athlon. I could see the paracord. I mean, that's a pretty small target at 600 yards, but boys, we were hitting it. The 6GT was doing its job. Both optics were doing their job. The clarity on the BTR is right on par with the Tract and the Razor. Again, that I'm finding that to be one of those things that's kind of like who you talk to depends on what they say compared to what they like about the scope. And sometimes clarity isn't what they like. I mean, sometimes it's the look, it's the turret, it's the sound of the turret. It could be a whole bunch of different reasons why people pick scopes for whatever reason. For me, it's the whole package: the clarity, the tracking, the turrets. I mean, the smoothness when it gets cold, everything. When it's nice and warm outside, most all these scopes are going to function. That everything's going to be nice and smooth. But when it's cold, it changes the game. Now, earlier in the other part of the video, I said that this scope hadn't been frozen. Well, 30 degrees is freezing. I want to correct myself on that. That scope has been out in the cold, and everything continued to work just fine. That is the Arken EP4. The only reason I don't have an SH4 on the wall is because I cannot keep the daggum things. They sell well. As soon as I get them, they move. For the money, the SH4 is a very, very, very hard scope to beat as far as the options of that scope, the clarity of that scope for the money that you're getting it for. I have one of our team members is running the Arken EP4, and I have a guy running an SH4. I recently sold one of my Athlons. It was I think it was an ETR, if I'm correct. It's the Japanese or the Chinese version of the Chronos. So it was an Aries ETR, I believe. And I'm going to be checking in with him quite often through this year. He's building a new scope. He's building a new build. His name is Marcus. Shout out to Marcus. And congratulations on the Athlon. We're going to keep in touch with him and maybe have him in a video. Maybe have some of the other guys in some of these videos. So it's not just me rambling on about what I think. So you can see what they think too. I've got a guy out there. His name is Shane. He's running one of the Titans. One of the Titan 5 to 25 by 56s. Element scopes. Shout out to Shane. I'm going to check on him and see how he's doing with his scope, and maybe have him in a video if he would be willing to. If he watched the video, he may be going, oh crap, I don't want to do that. But I'm going to ask him to see if he wants to do that. So you can get other people's opinions on these things other than just mine, because that's what I'm finding is the more people you talk to, the wider range of opinions you get. I can give you my opinion on something, but maybe that's not what your opinion would be if you look through the scope. I think if you set the focus correctly and you set your parallax correctly to your vision, that any of these scopes are going to do their job. Now, I was at the range with a guy the other day, and supposedly we had the same vision. I have 2015 and he has 2015 vision, which is a little bit better than 2020. The only reason I have 2015 is because I had LASIK surgery. Anyways, long story short, when I looked through his scope, it was blurry to me, and when he looked through my scope, it was blurry to him. So it's all about scope settings. These scopes, all of these scopes that I am currently running and or selling, seem to be doing their jobs, and we're going to check in with those guys. This is just an informational video. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Like, share, subscribe. I say that a lot. If there's something you don't like about the video, man, let me know. If there's something you'd like to see, let me know that too. I have a wide range of scopes that I'm testing right now. Again, I'm not really into the primary arms and some of those other scopes. Blackhound has kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Swamp Fox is out there. They kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Now, those are lower budget scopes. There's a scope group out there called Horus. They have a whole package, It comes with a rangefinder, a scope, and a wind reading utensil. Anyways, long story short, I got a few more things coming, but for this year, we're going to concentrate on the Elements, Arkens, Athlons, and we're going to be featuring the Tract quite a lot. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to all my subscribers. Anybody thinking about subscribing, go ahead and hit that button and subscribe. We have a lot of content coming up. Box tests, range footage, all kind of stuff. Guys, I appreciate you. This is 2021, the very first day. The first day of the new year. Let's start it off right. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.